Hi, everybody. All of us have probably heard about the things that are happening in the marketplace with reduction of staff. With a lot of tech companies, a lot of companies are looking at reducing staff right now. And I've had some questions come up in the last couple of weeks about why companies make reductions in staff and how they make reductions on staff. What's the logic behind it? And I wanted to spend a few minutes today giving you some information about how you make decisions when you have to reduce staff and how you as an employee can make sure that you're not part of those reductions in the future. So let's get into it. We're going to do about 10 minutes on this today. We're going to use a methodology called 9-box, but I do a modified version of 9-box, and I want to explain to you how this works. So let me go ahead and bring up my Vibe screen as well as my other camera. Obviously, reducing headcount is a really difficult thing. It's a struggle for a lot of different HR departments. Obviously, if you're on the opposite side of it, it sucks too. So let me explain the methodology, how companies make these decisions. And you can be real honest with yourself here in understanding where you fall out in this matrix to determine if you're potentially in a position that might be downsized. So what we want to do is we want to use something here. Let me get my Vibe board going. We want to use something here that we're going to call a 9-box, but at first it's just going to look like an XY axis, but I'll show you why it's 9-box in the future here in a couple of minutes. So what we want to do is we want to talk about two different aspects of each and every employee that's inside a company. We want to talk about performance. That performance is down here. This is this axis, and up here is potential. So potential is when you hire somebody, when you bring somebody on board, what do you think their potential is to the organization? Where do you see them going? Do you see them being promoted through the ranks? Do you see them holding their position? What sort of happens? So that what you do as a company in this process is you go through and you look at each and every employee and you rank them on this matrix. Now, the way that I have done this in the past, whenever I've been in situations where I've had to make a reduction in staff, I've had 5 or 6 other managers do the exact same thing with the same people. And then we just mash up all of these under the XY axis to figure out who we need to remove from the fold and who we need to move up through the ranks. So let's just use, we'll use maybe 5 different characters here. We'll just call them A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's talk about A first. So A is a top performer. They do a really, really good job for us. Maybe they're a salesperson, but they don't want to go anywhere else in the organization. They want to be a salesperson. They love sales. They're not asking for promotions. They're not looking for promotions. They're not trying to develop out their skills any more than they already are. They're very content where they are in their performance of the company. So we'll call this guy A. The next one is somebody who's a relatively new hire. We haven't seen their performance as of yet, but when we hired them, we knew this person had a lot of potential. Maybe they came from another company where they were super successful. We just maybe haven't seen that from them just yet. That we don't want that guy. Let's erase that line real quick. Sorry, I'm still getting used to my Vibe board here, so I am still challenged a little bit. So up here we have our next one. We're going to call this one B. Let's say we have C. This is somebody who's been with us for a while. They do a great job. They get the work done. They're very middle of the road in regards to their desire to want to improve up through the company. They might want to get promoted a little bit, but they're just great at their job. These are hardcore people that just get the job done. We'll call this person C. Maybe we have somebody who we're struggling with a little bit. We'll call them D. They have low potential, low performance. They really haven't worked their way out. They haven't shown their value yet to the organization. Maybe let's throw a couple other ones in here too. Maybe we have an E, somebody who's sort of middle of the road performance and middle of the road potential. We'll drop him in here. F, we'll put, this is a rock star. This is somebody who's a great performance, great potential inside the organization. And then just to make it a little easier to understand, EF, we'll go to G. We'll put some G right here. H, and let's say I. Okay, so now we've got, what is this, about 7, 8 employees mapped out here. Again, I like to get multiple perspectives on this. Sometimes I don't understand the potential of people because maybe I'm not having that conversation with them on a daily basis about how they're feeling and what they want to do and where they see themselves inside the company. But what happens in this matrix is that when I have to make reductions in staff, I get these from multiple people, managers inside my organization. And then I analyze this based upon something called a 9-box. This is what a 9-box sort of looks like. We just grid this thing out. And now that we've gridded it out, we can make some determinations on the people we have inside our organization. These folks up here in the top right quadrant, those are the people that we want to encourage to come up into the executive level of our organization. These are people that we want to promote. We want to invest time, money, and resources into. We want to send them to conferences. We want to get them out there, maybe writing blogs for the company. We want to get great, we want to make them subject matter experts in our business because it will help us in the long run. The folks down here, low performance, low potential, this is the first place where things get cut inside a company. I guarantee you the first round of layoffs in any organization is always going to come from my low potential, low performance people. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, it could be that you're relatively new to the company and based upon seniority, your performance hasn't yet been recognized. So you're going to fall into that category. Maybe you're not actively as an employee talking about being promoted, making it very, very clear that you want to work up through the ranks. So that way people don't understand the potential and where you want to go in this organization. Maybe you're just there for the paycheck. I get it. There's a lot of quiet quitting kind of things going on right now. Unfortunately, whenever there are reductions in staff come from here. This is the people that get moved out. It just is what it is. Low potential, low performance. We can call them bench. Sometimes we bring people into the organization that won't perform on the early stages, but our hope is they'll move up into this quadrant and they'll become sort of our bench of the company in the future. What I mean by bench is like, those are the people that we sort of have on the sidelines that we're sort of working up through, we're mentoring, bringing up to the level that we need them to be. Let's talk about some of these other categories. These are sort of your workhorses. These are the people that get things done inside the organization. And for the most part, these folks in this area tend to be relatively protected during a downsizing because they are critical and essential to getting the work done inside the business. Over here, we have the high performance but low potential people. What happens in this quadrant is something that is a little bit different. Over here, companies do a little bit more of an analysis of what I call the PIA. So they want to know how much of a pain in the ass is this person? Why do they need to know that? Well, many times people that are high performance and low potential can be really difficult to work with. They might be the sales guy that's very, very demanding and requires a lot of people and says, that's not my job all the time, or I don't have time to put that work into the CRM. Yes, they're valuable to the organization, but they potentially can harm you in the sense that it makes your good performers actually produce at a lower level. So many times when you're looking at doing layoffs, when you're looking at reducing your staff, obviously these guys are going to go first. If you have to go a little deeper, you're going to start to look here and you're going to start to look up here. Now, why would I get rid of somebody that has high potential but low performance? Well, for the most part, high potential and low performance doesn't mean that the person is bad. It means that management hasn't accurately been able to assess that person's abilities and skills and hasn't been able to motivate them up into this quadrant just yet. Usually for me, if I have to make reductions, I'm going to go real deep here. I'm going to cut everything I can here. I'm going to do a little bit of analysis over here. People that are a huge pain in the ass, even though they're high performers, I might move them out because it will motivate these folks up. And then I'm going to, if I have the ability, if I'm not faced with, a shutdown or a major market condition that has moved, I'm going to try to escalate these folks, spend a lot of time with them to try to move them up here. And candidly, what I have seen happen a lot of times inside organizations, if you fall into this quadrant, what's going to happen when there's staff reductions and there's reductions in costs is these folks will usually tend to see a little bit of a raise or bonus if you have a smart company, or if they're smart, they'll start to ask for raises and bonuses because they understand where they fall out on these quadrants. So that's what a 9-box is. This is the way that I like to use it. If you're an employee, here's what I would tell you. Think about where you fall into this category. Think about your visibility inside the company. Think about your performance. And if you fall down into here, you might want to start looking for work. I'm Derrick Mains, the Process Fixer. Until next time.